Jiggy Show, where jiggy people do jiggy things.
Welcome to the Jiggy Show. I am your host, Bob Smooth. I'm glad to be back. I'm happy to be back. It's been a long time coming. I had taken a hiatus for many reasons, personal reasons, and also because of everything that's going on with the world. But I want to say thank you for everybody that continues to tune in. Thank you for everybody that hit me up and asked for me to come and speak on everything that's been going on with the world, with police brutality, Black people dying, and racism. So I wanted to use my platform in a positive way and sharing awareness to what is going on, because there's a lot of people out there that are misinformed, or as my friend would like to say, they're ignorant and they don't have enough information. And I believe the best way to learn is from personal experiences. So in the next few episodes of the Jiggy Show, it's mainly going to be focused to draw awareness to Black lives and what Black people go through on a daily basis all throughout their lives. And today I have one of my longtime friends, my brother. Actually, this is his idea. He hit me up like, yo, what are you doing? Why haven't you said anything? There's a lot going on in the world. Our people are dying. Our people need to come together. We need you to speak out, but I want him to speak out. My brother right here, I'm gonna let him introduce himself. A lot of y'all may already know him. It's kind of famous, kind of not, depending who you ask. But I'm gonna let him introduce himself. And for the next 5 episodes, this is part 1 out of 5. For the next 5 episodes, is gonna be dedicated for 2 Black lives, and Black people share their stories, their experiences dealing with either police brutality, systematic racism, or plain old racism. And please, my brother, introduce yourself and let's get this popping.
All right. What an introduction, man. I was gonna present myself as Bob. I was gonna be like, yo, this is the Jiggy Show, it's Bob here, but took that away from me. But yeah. My name is Fareed Dishabu. Most of you guys know me on IG or social media, any type of social media, as Fareed French Fry. As Kenny said earlier, we've known each other for quite some time. But I'm appreciative of the fact that he was able to let me come on today and talk about just a couple of topics in regards to what's going on right now. Not just racism in itself, but ignorance behind racism, right? Someone doesn't necessarily have to be a racist. They could just be ignorant to the fact that there are certain things that are going on outside of the world, right? And although they're in it, they're in their own bubble, and they just don't get what's going on. So I would like to share two stories. So
Before you start sharing, sir, I have to ask, as my duty as a Black man and as your brother, I must ask you, how is your mental health? What is going on right now? How is your mind?
I'm good. And I say that because during Ramadan I was able to. I'm Muslim, so during Ramadan I was able to kind of take a break from everything, get away from everything. I do it every year. Just shut down my social media and kind of isolate myself and kind of just do introspective work on, where I'm at, what I was doing before, and where I'm trying to go, right? So I think I have a solid foundation in regards to that, but I'm not going to say it was easy doing that. I mean, 30 days of isolating yourself, and I'm an extrovert. So like a lot of my energy, a lot of the way I function is through being out and stuff like that. So it was really, really tough, but I need that. And it's kind of like that reboot I do every single year, just to make sure that I'm still sane and still growing.
And that's beautiful. And I'm glad that you're in a good mental state. And I can't say the same about everybody, but I'm glad that you are. And yeah, bro, please share your experiences. Please share your story right now. Don't shy away from anything. And you're all here to listen and to be educated. The purposes of all these episodes going on is to be educated and be informed. So please share your story.
All right. First and foremost, I have a lot of experiences. But I want to just share two in particular, and just most recent things, because it's more fresh in my mind and stuff like that. I want to say this was probably a couple of months ago. I want to say 6 or 7 months ago. Me and a couple of friends, we decided, hey, let's go hiking. And so we said, let's go to Shenandoah Mountains. I don't exactly recall which trail it was that we went to, but it had a lot of, right? So we went there, it was me and three other guys, or there's four of us, right? So what I typically do when I go on these trails is we get a group together, we go to these trails. I usually bring my speaker or whatever. We pack up. It's always going to be a all day thing, because generally speaking, the drive there is 2 hours, the drive back is 2 hours, and then we're pretty much there for like 7 hours or whatever. So everything is prepped. We're there. And then I want to say probably halfway through the trail in itself, we come into this situation. And the funny thing is, like, in that moment, there's a lot going on. So you just don't know how to react to it, right? But essentially what happens is we come upon this pathway, right? And there's like this really, really big waterfall to the left of us. And we want to go see it. And then to continue onto the trail, because the trail loops, I think it's like 10 miles, right? The trail in itself is like 10 miles. And we want to go to the right, which will continue to the trail, right? But we do want to stop by that really big waterfall and check it out. So as we're walking on the trail, where the diversion is between continuing on the trail for the loop and going to the waterfall, we see a white couple, right? First thing they said, and just to give you some context here, is my friends, they were ahead of me. I'm playing music, so I'm in the back. So I'm in the back. They were probably around 5 to 6 feet away from me. Me playing music too, I can't really hear what's going on. I could kind of get a gist of what's going on, but I can't fully hear what's going on. And the whole purpose of having the music out there is just like us entertaining each other and just so the guy sees us and he's like, hey, can you guys go this way? He didn't say like, can you go this way? He's like, you guys go this way, because we don't want to hear your music. He told us to go that way because we don't want to hear, he doesn't want to hear music. And the funny thing is, that is the area that we wanted. We wanted to go this way. This is where the
This is also a public park.
It's a public park. We wanted to go check out the waterfall, but the guy told us this way. So in that moment, I don't know exactly what was said in that moment, because my friends were up ahead. They had stopped. They were talking to this guy. I just see him doing hand gestures, So I don't really know what's going on at the time, but there's 3 guys ahead of me. I'm behind. So my assumption is they're handling it, right? And so I'm on my phone doing whatever. And then we start going back to the original route, right? And now at this point, because they start walking there, I'm like, wait, what happened, guys? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, slow down. What's good? Like, why are we going that way? I thought we were gonna go see the waterfall, right? So then I go talk to them, and they're like, yeah, the guy told us to go that way because he didn't want to hear our music. And I'm like, wait, why did you allow that to happen? Why did you think that was okay for him to choose where you can and cannot be? Like, dude, this is not his crib. This is a public park. It's a national park, actually. And for him to say that to you, he's imposing his will on you, right? And like I have the right just as much as him to do whatever I want to do out in public, as long as I'm not harming the individual, right? And I do recall during that conversation when they were having, my friends were having with that guy, the girl walked away. She was embarrassed. You could tell that something that the guy had said made her embarrassed, and she didn't want to be affiliated with that. I mean, like attracts like, though. So this guy's racist, you know what I'm saying? Like, she racist too, but she knows that what he was doing was wrong, right? had we been playing a different genre, I mean, we were playing some hip hop and all of that, whatever, right? Had we been playing a different genre, would have been a different discussion. Who knows? You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, after talking to the guys, I was upset because I'm like, how did you guys let that go? How did you guys let this guy control your mind? There's three of you, one guy here telling you how you should go about doing your thing. It goes back to how Black people have to act a certain way so that other our white counterparts could feel safe. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, this is what you like. This is what you're doing. Is that harming anyone? And I'm asking the group. I'm legit asking the group, like, are we harming anyone?
Are these all Black men?
All Black men.
Okay.
I mean, African to be more specific, but yeah, Black. Black is Black.
Yeah, and we all African.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like I was truly disappointed at the group because I was like, after I explained it to them, they started getting riled up and they started getting pissed, and it's like, dude, I didn't see that. I was like, dude, how are you gonna, like, I don't get it. You guys are all grown men. One of the guys that we had in the group, he's like 36, and he's like, dude, he was telling one of the friends that I guess he had made the decision, let's walk away this way.
Mm-hmm.
I told you that's what it was. Like, this guy was trying to say, this is my land. What are you doing hearing this type of music? And we don't want you to be around here because this music upsets me. What we should have done is we should have just went. And if he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there. That's up to him. But he can't tell us what not to do. Now, this is in a different context. If a park official comes up to us and say, hey, the policy here is that you can't play music or whatever, right? Cool. That's a whole different context. But this is another individual, right? Like, that is outside from,
Right.
that's not part of the governing body of that park. Okay. So I was really upset. And they really wanted to go back. And I'm like, you guys got to understand something here. The minute that you made the right, you gave that guy power and the ability to think what he did was okay. So he's going to do it to someone else. At some point or another, he's going to do it to someone else. God forbid it is someone that the public, has us displayed, right? Like, violent and stuff like that, right? God forbid is another Black individual going through some shit that day, and here's whomever that comes over here and try to tell them you'll turn off your music, and dude gets popped, right? Like, over some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so stuff like that. And then we didn't want to be the aggressor too, right? Because at that point, once you've already made the decision to go that way, then we come back and we just get back there. We become the aggressor at that point, because at that point, we're trying to prove a point. So yeah, I mean, I was really upset about that because, one, I was like, guys, don't, like, in the future when situations like that happen, let's try to rationalize it and try to see, like, what this person is really trying to say. Like, let's read between the lines. It's like, your music is not good enough for me and it's making me uncomfortable, and because it's making me uncomfortable, I want you to go that way. You know what I'm saying? That's not your pops. That's not the park official. That's not the police. Like, it's not okay. So yeah, I mean, it kind of, for me, it ruined that trip for me, but we try to make the best of it. But it was just very disheartening that someone felt so empowered to want to say something like that to a group of individuals that they don't know. And the irony behind this is there is a group right behind us, and they saw what's going on. Dude, I don't know what the fuck is that guy's problem. That's what they're telling us. And I'm like, dude, it's not okay. It's not okay. But
it's not okay. And it's always about, like, making the other person, I mean, like, making white people, not even say white, the other person, making white people comfortable. It seems like Black men have to bend over to make white super pause. But it seems like we have to just do the most in order to make white people feel comfortable, even when it's something as innocent as going to see a view at a park. And but I'm glad you addressed that situation to those fellow brothers, and I'm glad that you guys had a discussion on it, and I'm glad that you guys took it a step further to how to handle or next time that situation is presented. So I'm glad you took that responsibility to address that. And and you handle yourself accordingly. Going back and being the aggressor and giving them every reason to call us animals, whatever the case may be. You, sir, you took the power and owned it to yourself, and you passed it on to your brothers. And I say thank you for that, and I applaud you for that. But you mentioned 2 stories, so that was one story. Which one? So tell us about the second experience that you had.
It's a very blatant political racism towards us, right? This other story is just ignorance. So the other side that we don't really talk about, right? Like, ignorance with the people that we hang out with, or ignorance with, our community and stuff like that, right? So this story is particular is a good friend of mine. She has a good heart. She has a good head on her shoulder, but given the life that she was raised in, she just doesn't. Yeah, there is privilege. Is this just what it is? I mean, I even told her that during as this incident's happening, that she's privileged. You're privileged. This is what's going on. That's why you don't understand what's going on. But essentially, as you guys know, George Floyd, killing was such a big thing in the Black community. It was such a huge thing in the Black community, and it's not because of just him, right? There's all these things that have led up to him, but I think he is the one that really started to peak Black people, not just Black people, but just
everybody in the world,
everybody around the world, to start making changes, because we're tired of it. We're just tired of it. But essentially, the riots and the looting started in DC. I want to say this was last week? Was it last week?
Probably like 3 weeks ago.
Right. Yeah, it was somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks ago. Yeah, you're correct, because it's been 20 days since the protest has been going on, right? So essentially, that first weekend when it happened, right? Mayor, what's her name?
Bowser.
Mayor Bowser had started to impose curfew. So my friend and I, we decided to go out and eat that day and just kick it, chill, whatever, right? So first we went to Arlington, we grabbed some food there, and then we decided, you know what, let's go eat in DC. Now here's the thing, the place that we went in DC, it was near a friend of mine's house, and it's a very affluent area. So it's like right off of Chain Bridge Road. If you guys are familiar, where the actual Chain Bridge between the intersection of Arlington, McLean, and DC. So this area is actually called the Palisades. So I'm thinking to myself, I already know, because we all got the message via your phone and stuff like that, saying, hey, the curfew tonight is 11 p.m. But I figured in that area in itself, we would be okay, right? Like, it's not going to be anything. So we go down there, we chilling, we eating, whatever, right? And near the end, she's like, hey, with all this looting and things going on right now, like, the protests and stuff like that, like, we should go into DC further and check out what's going on. For me, I've been protesting for quite some time. I actually started protesting when I was 16 or 17 for various causes and stuff like that. I've just always been interested in social injustice and stuff like that. So, I've been protesting for quite some time. But for her, she's never really seen that. Well, at least that's the vibe that she's giving me, right? Like, she's never really seen the looting and the protesting and all that stuff. So she was curious. And this being something that's so close to home, I was curious too, right? So I said, hey, she said that, hey, let's go further, and I'm like, sure, let's do it. Let's go check it out. All right, let's go to Georgetown. We'll just drive around, see what's going on, and then we'll be about our way, right? So we're probably in Georgetown for a good 5 or 10 minutes at this point. We're driving around, and she's like, hey, let's go here, let's go there, this and that. And given the context of what's going on, right? George Floyd passed away.
He didn't get passed away. He got murdered, but yeah.
He got murdered. He got murdered. And for 8+ minutes, bro. 8+ minutes. You see the whole sequence too. Like, it's crazy. but yeah, so like given the context that a black individual just got murdered, emotions are high. People are really upset about the situation. So obviously in Georgetown, there's a lot of looting going on, right? The Apple store is destroyed too. It's crazy. But yeah, so we see all this broken glass. We see all these broken stores and stuff like that. I mean, there's armored trucks outside, there's cops that are blocking the streets and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, this is enough. We've seen it. Let's get out of here. Let's just move along. All right. Let's go about our way. And she's like, no. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we go through this one street, right? We're driving up this one street and we see about like 10, 15 kids and they're all wearing black, right? So because the way that they were going about the protests is they were all wearing black and that is, yep, Black Lives Matter. Said that is so that it's to signify what's going on, and also that you blend in with the group protesting and stuff like that, right? But these kids, they look like somewhere in their they're probably like 16, between 16, 18, so like high schoolers, you could say per se. And I am with a chick that is not white but looks white. So here I am driving up the street, and these kids, they see us, and one dude says, "Oh, he got a white girl in his car. He got a white girl in his car. He got a white girl in his car." So you already know, like if as a black individual, if you've been in a situation like this before, you know how shit goes south. This is about left. And so these kids are around the car and stuff like that. Things are getting uneasy, you know what I'm saying? And I roll down my windows like, I'm just rolling through, da da da. And like things were getting very, very tense. But they let us go. They just, they got out of their way, they let us go and stuff like that. And she's over here like as if nothing happened, right? Because I'm at this point, I'm a little upset, I'm a little annoyed. So I'm like, yo,
this is the disconnect right here. This is the disconnect.
I'm like, shit could have went left, right? Just because you're a liability right now. Like you're a liability right now. Shit could have went left. And she doesn't see nothing of it. She's like, no, Free, you're just exaggerating. Nothing's gonna happen to me. Like, how are you gonna tell me, first of all, as a black male, that nothing is gonna happen to us? The first thing I asked her was like, have you ever been in a fight? Couldn't answer that, right? Like, I was like, have you ever been shot at? I've been shot at. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever been shot at?
No, I don't want to get shot at either.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but here's the thing. Like, if you've never experienced something like that, more than likely you don't know when that situation goes from like 0 to 100 because you've never experienced it, right? Right. And with emotions being so high, you look like the target. You look like the problem. You look like everything that's wrong with what's going on right now. And these are some young kids. And I always say this. I always preach this. Kids in high school, in middle school, they don't have a concept of life. Life hasn't started for them yet. So like, I remember I was in high school. I was in middle school. I thought I was invincible. You get what I'm saying? Like, life is not as big as it took. That we haven't grasped everything yet. We still feel like we're like the king of our school or our community or whatever, right? But there's other bigger kids out there. There's other bigger situations out there. There's things that are much bigger than we can currently grasp. But at that time, you just feel like, fuck it, I could do whatever fuck I want to do and I'll get away with it. So those are the most dangerous type of kids that don't have, they don't feel like they have nothing to lose. Here's a bunch of kids upset about what's going on. Some of these kids, this cause is probably one of the biggest things that have happened to them in their lives. So them being out here and feeling that they're a part of something, that is like something very, very big to them, right? Some of these kids probably feel more comfortable being outside and being a part of this cause than being at home. You know what I'm saying? So great pride into what's going on. They're willing to do whatever for the cause, right? And here I am driving around with you, knowing, I mean, like we got the text about the curfew, knowing that there was a curfew, and we specifically go out of our way from Virginia to DC to go just scope things out and see what's going on, right? And if we get fucked up, it's gonna be dumb. I know better than that. but she's not getting it. She's just not getting it. She's like, nothing is going to happen. You're just exaggerating, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, you know, you right now don't get this because you're very privileged. You've lived a very privileged life. And I feel like for you to understand this, you would have to let go of all the things that you've kind of have to unlearn some of the things that you learned, because she was saying certain things and going along our conversation, because I was at this point, I'm livid. I'm trying to get it through her head that like what just happened was not okay, and for you to disregard it as no, nothing was gonna happen, that's the problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the problem. And we got to a point in the conversation, the argument, and I was like, Black people out here are because I'm trying to educate her, right? Black people out here are getting killed for no reason. And then she's like, well, not I don't think the police would just kill people for no reason. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean the police wouldn't kill people for no reason? Like, you've never had a situation where you've been stopped for no reason. You've never had a situation where someone looked at you and was afraid for no reason. So you wouldn't get this concept. You think because that is their duty and that's what they were tasked to do, that they're going to do their duty exactly how it's supposed to be done. No, it doesn't work that way. And that's the reason why you're privileged, because you've never had this happen to you. So you obviously cannot understand the way that I've lived, you know what I'm saying, compared to the way you've lived. You clearly have been sheltered in this bubble, right? Again, she comes from an affluent area. So like all her life, she doesn't really understand these concept of division between race, because she's always been in that bubble of everything is okay. So I mean, like we talked extensively that night. I mean, overall, at the end of the day, when I dropped her off, she got it. You know, like she apologized, she got it, and she was like, you're right. That shit could have went south. And then here's the thing: those kids wanted to fight you, not me.
Yeah.
You're like I'm the protector of you because you're in my care right now. Like we're together, so you're in my care. So like obviously I'm gonna defend you to what I can do and all that, right? But I mean, come on, there's 10, 15 kids. Like I can't fight 10, 15 kids while trying to protect your ass. Like you're gonna get your ass stomped. And then the story headline gonna be like black guy from Virginia purposely take white girl to DC, knowing that this is going on and knowing past curfew. It's just dumb. I can't explain this story to anyone. Like I told her, I was like, this story is the dumbest thing ever that I have to explain to someone, because they're like, dude, you purposely set yourself in that situation. So and then her, like, before she got it, she was like, oh, let's go to City Center next. Nigga. Like, nigga. But I mean, at the end of the day, drilling it through her, she apologized and she was like, you're right. I don't understand this. And I was like, don't worry, I'll be the steward of making sure that you get what Black lives, like what we Black people go through on a daily basis and stuff like that. So you can better understand us. Because if you plan to be with us one day, and if you don't understand the cultural aspect of the police brutality and how we're just not equals. We're not equals to everybody else in the world. That you're putting yourself in a situation where you just won't have a healthy relationship with a Black man if you so choose to be with one in the future.
Amen. You're not a professor or anything, but I'm glad you educated her and even put it in the perspective that if she's willing one day to be with a Black man, she got to understand the struggles of a Black man. And that's the whole point of these stories, and that's the whole point of these segments, is for people to understand the struggles of Black people. And hopefully I'll have some Black women in here so they can also highlight their struggles and the things that they go through. And Freed, thank you for sharing your story. I'm sorry that we still have to go through this. But I am happy about the fact that we're now educating the ignorant, educating the people that have been late to the party. They don't get it. They've been sheltered. They've been protected. So yeah, I'm happy about that, and I'm happy that you actually taking it upon yourself to actually push the conversation and actually taking the time out to educate some people. And bro, just want to say thank you. Also, I want to say please be safe out in these streets because you are a very adventurous young man. My whole thing about any black person nowadays for me is just please make it home. Be safe. I know even at your own home you're not protected, but do the best you can to make it home. And yeah, man, thank you for sharing your story. And I hope this connected with a lot of people. And if you have any final words on how you, yeah, if you have any final words for people that don't get it, and please also give out your social media for where people can reach you if they have further question on wanting to learn about Black culture and Black people and our.
A couple of things actually. Number one, there's two types of ignorance in this world, right? There's ignorance in the sense of like you don't know any better, and then there's selective ignorance, right? That's the worst category to be on. Don't be on selective ignorance because if you know better and you don't do better, that's your problem, right? And you're just not helping no one with that, right? And then number two, I feel like people should live with a purpose, right? Like live with a purpose. Make sure that you're able to teach the next person or the next individual how to be, you know, good steward of not just being good for yourself, but also your community. Like, you know, develop yourself, then develop your community, right? And then the community will, the cycle will continue. Then someone in that community will develop their self, develop the community, and then it just keeps going, right? So like that's in the sense of what a legacy would look like, right? You know, just
be the example.
Right, being the example of creating other leaders, right? And lastly, I just feel like a lot of people that are out here just talking about, hey, you know, Black Lives Matter, but you're not actually contributing in some way or form. Just do more. If you can do more. I understand some people right now with the pandemic of COVID, they don't feel comfortable going out there and protest. That's fine. That's cool. Like, I'm not telling you to be out here in the streets. It's not for everybody. But I do want you to do a little more than just posting about Black Lives Matter. Like, go out there and donate. You know, there's various ways to go about doing it. There's bail funds right now for people that are, you know, going to jail over protesting and stuff like that. Me personally, like, I don't talk about this often, but I work for an institution called College Bounds Foundation, where you know, we help inner city kids, basically kids in DC, get funding so that they can go to college and stuff like that. So scholarships, right? And I also work for Thomas Morehead's foundation, which basically he's taking personal money himself. You know, he's a very affluent person, very well-known person in this area, but he's taking money from his own wealth and creating a scholarship out of his foundation, and, you know, serving kids that are in need, minorities that are in need of you know, money for the next level. And I just hope that people take it upon themselves to go do more, and don't just say Black Lives Matter. If you really stand behind that, then let the action speak, right? You don't even have to post it. You don't have to tell everybody what you're doing. Just go do it.
Facts.
And lastly,
okay, go ahead. No. Go ahead. Please finish. Go ahead.
Lastly, how can you guys get to contact me? My Instagram is free French fry. You could just post it up later, spell it out. But free French fry. A lot of times when I'm on Instagram, I try to give a mixture of things, of like a little bit of my life. You know, just if you'll come on there, you'll see yourself. But we try to make sure that we enjoy our lives, but also have a little bit of seriousness on what's going on and stuff like that. So if you come about following me and stuff like that, you'll see a little bit of more of who I am and what I'm doing out here.
Lit. Nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you for those wise words of doing more. And for the people, and I'm gonna focus on that doing more for a little bit before we close off this episode. And just touching on the doing more, people, if you're not Black and if you're of other race and you're trying to understand the Black struggle, you're trying to understand what Black people go through, you're trying to connect and really take your unbiased opinion and unlearn, like my man said, by doing more is simply just, and this is a shameless plug, call it whatever you want, it's just watching this episode. Relate, try to understand somebody else's life, try to understand somebody else's perspective. So that's what you don't need to go out there and protest. You don't need to go out there and donate. You should. You don't need to. But something as watching somebody express and talk about their story, and then you hitting up your black friend, hey, do you go through this? Is this something that has happened to you? Can you tell me more? Can I learn from you? And that's how I feel it's going to be a way of bringing all of us together. It's just simple conversations and just simple information and just learning and being there for each other. And Fareed, again, thank you. Again, thank you. I don't really have much else to say, but thank you. And please be safe, my brother, and continue to be an example for all of us and for those that need example. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate you for having me, man. And always remember, man, there's people out here fighting these fights and they need your help. So do as much as you can, man. But
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if you enjoy this podcast, as you should, please like, subscribe, and share. Please do it. I'm not the type of person to announce that and say it all the time, but from now on, I'm doing this. So please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. And I am your host, Bob Smooth, and I hope people please stay together. And we're going to do 4 more of these. And Fareed, thank you for being number 1, and thank you for sharing your story. And that's it, ladies and gents. That is the Jiggy Show.